No one tells you the real cost of caring for an aging parent until you're in it. The late nights, the medical emergencies, the silent moments of guilt. It's a journey that can break even the strongest. Are you truly ready for what's ahead? Meet Lisa. At 58, she thought she had life figured out, balancing a career, a family, and a future that seemed stable. But when her 82-year-old mother, Margaret, was diagnosed with dementia, everything changed overnight. One day, her mother forgot how to make coffee. A week later, she forgot Lisa's name. At first, she thought, I can handle this. But then came the sleepless nights, the endless doctor visits, the financial strain, and the painful realization that her siblings weren't as involved as she'd hoped. If you've ever felt this way, or fear what's ahead, stay with me. Because today, we're diving into 7 brutal realities of caring for elderly parents that no one talks about, but that every caregiver needs to know. Have you faced a moment that made you realize caregiving is harder than you ever expected? Share your story in the comments. And trust me, the first reality alone is one that leaves most caregivers in tears. If you find this helpful, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more real practical advice on navigating life after 60. Let's get into it. Reality number 1. The role reversal is emotionally draining. No one prepares you for the moment when your parent, who once took care of you, now needs you to take care of them. It starts small. Maybe they forget appointments or struggle with everyday tasks. Then, before you know it, you're handling their medications, making their meals, and guiding them through routines they once did effortlessly. This shift is more than just physical responsibility, it's an emotional shock. You're no longer just their child, you've become their caregiver. And that role reversal is one of the hardest things you'll ever experience. Watching your parent decline is painful. It's not just about memory loss or mobility issues, it's about losing the person they used to be. The strong, independent figure you once relied on now needs you for everything. It can feel like you're mourning someone who is still alive. And then there's the guilt. You love them, but some days the stress is overwhelming. You get frustrated, you lose your patience, and then you feel terrible for it. That's normal. Caregiving is physically and emotionally draining, and no one teaches you how to handle the grief that comes with it. Many caregivers struggle with feelings of resentment, exhaustion, and isolation. You're constantly giving, but rarely receiving support in return. It can feel like your own life is slipping away, replaced by the never-ending responsibilities of looking after someone else. And the hardest part? Your parent may resist your help. They don't want to feel like a burden. They may get frustrated, deny their struggles, or even lash out. It's heartbreaking, but it's also a reality many caregivers face. Here are a few ways to handle this emotional shift. Acknowledge your feelings. Feeling sad, angry, or overwhelmed doesn't make you a bad caregiver. It makes you human. Don't bottle up your emotions. Set boundaries. You can't do everything. Accept that you will need breaks, support, and outside help. It's okay to ask for assistance. Find a support system. Whether it's a friend, a counselor, or a support group, talking to others who understand can make a huge difference. Focus on the small moments. Even in the hardest times, look for little ways to connect, reminiscing over old stories, playing their favorite music, or just sitting together in silence. Have you ever had to step into the parent role for your own mum or dad? What was the hardest part? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could help someone else going through the same thing. And if you think the emotional toll is tough, just wait until we talk about what caregiving does to your own health. Reality number 2, caregiving takes a toll on your health. As a caregiver, you're constantly giving. You give your time, your energy, your patience. And before you know it, you start giving away pieces of your own health. It's easy to forget about yourself when you're focused on someone else's well-being. But the truth is, chronic stress, lack of sleep, and the physical demands of caregiving can quickly take a toll on your body and mind. Caregiving is a 24/7 responsibility. And it can feel like you're running on empty all the time. You're lifting, helping with mobility, managing medications, and constantly worrying about your loved one's health. Over time, this physical exertion leads to exhaustion, and exhaustion leads to burnout. But it's not just the physical toll. The emotional weight of caregiving, worrying about your parents' health, feeling responsible for every decision, can wear you down just as much. The constant stress raises your risk of developing high blood pressure, heart disease, or other chronic conditions. Many caregivers develop health problems of their own as a result of neglecting their own well-being. Back pain from helping with physical tasks, headaches from the constant stress, or even digestive problems from irregular eating habits can sneak up on you. And then there's the mental toll. Anxiety, depression, and burnout are common among caregivers. The problem is that these health issues often go unnoticed until it's too late. You're so focused on your parents' needs that you don't see how your own health is deteriorating until it becomes a major concern. It's hard to focus on your own needs when you're focused on someone else's. Many caregivers put themselves last, skipping meals, sacrificing sleep, and not prioritizing their own health. But this is a dangerous cycle. The more you neglect your own well-being, the harder it becomes to care for your loved one. It's a vicious circle. The more tired and stressed you become, the less energy you have to give, and the more you push yourself, the more you damage your health in the long run. Here's the hard truth. You can't be the best caregiver for your loved one if you're running on empty. You need to prioritize your own health, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to give the care that your loved one deserves. Set boundaries. Learn to say no. This doesn't mean you're abandoning your parent. It means you're taking the necessary steps to protect your own well-being. Set boundaries around how much time you spend caregiving each day. Recognize when you're about to reach your limit and step back to recharge. Schedule regular breaks. It's essential to take time for yourself. Schedule short breaks throughout the day, whether it's a walk around the block, a cup of tea, or a few minutes to meditate. These breaks don't have to be long, but they're vital for resetting your energy levels and giving your mind a rest. Ask for help. Don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. Whether it's hiring a home health aide, asking a family member for assistance, or relying on local support services, there's no shame in seeking help. You can't do it all on your own. Make time for self-care. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. Taking care of your physical health, getting enough sleep, eating regular meals, and exercising are crucial to maintaining your ability to care for others. When was the last time you took a break just for yourself? How do you manage your own health while caregiving? Let us know below. Your tips could help someone else find balance. Taking care of yourself is essential. But what happens when caregiving begins to affect your finances? The next reality is a tough one, and it hits where it hurts the most, your wallet. Stay tuned. Reality number 3. Siblings and family won't always step up. When you step into the role of a caregiver for your elderly parent, you might expect your siblings or other family members to share the load. After all, it's a responsibility that should be divided, right? Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Too often, caregiving falls on just one person, the one who is closest, the one who is willing, or simply the one who happens to have the most free time. While others stay distant, the caregiver becomes overwhelmed with the weight of managing their parents' needs. This can create a lot of emotional strain, leading to feelings of resentment and burnout. It's heartbreaking when family members aren't as involved as you expected. Some might avoid taking on the responsibility because they live far away. Others might think you've got it handled, and some may even be in denial about the severity of your parents' condition. But regardless of the reason, it often feels like the entire caregiving load lands squarely on your shoulders. And when this happens, it's easy to start feeling frustrated. You might wonder why you're the one shouldering everything while your siblings carry on with their own lives. That resentment builds, and what should be a time of coming together as a family turns into tension and division. What happens next? You might start to feel isolated. The weight of caregiving becomes heavier because not only are you caring for your parent, but now you're also shouldering the emotional burden of unmet expectations from your family. It's exhausting. This lack of family involvement isn't just emotionally draining, it can lead to practical issues as well. If you're doing everything on your own, it can affect your physical health, your mental well-being, and even your financial stability. Without the support of others, you might find yourself sacrificing sleep, work, or even your own social life. Over time, the resentment can reach a breaking point where you feel completely overwhelmed and even angry at those who haven't stepped up. But at this point, it may be too late to reverse the damage that's been done. It's easy to let these issues fester without having an open, honest conversation with your siblings. But the sooner you talk about dividing caregiving responsibilities, the better. Start the conversation early. Don't wait until you're in crisis mode. Have a discussion with your siblings as soon as caregiving becomes a serious responsibility. Explain the situation clearly and calmly. Don't assume they know what's involved. You need to set clear expectations about what is required and why their involvement matters. Define roles and responsibilities. Caregiving is a huge responsibility and each family member should have a role to play. Whether it's helping with finances, managing medical appointments, or taking turns with caregiving shifts, dividing the tasks evenly will help prevent burnout and resentment. Be specific and realistic. It's important to be realistic about what each family member can do. Not everyone may have the time or resources to help equally, but by being specific about what's needed, you can create a plan that works for everyone. Check in regularly. Even after the initial conversation, keep checking in with your siblings to make sure responsibilities are being followed through. Having a regular check-in will hold everyone accountable and ensure that no one is feeling overwhelmed. But the next reality is one most people never expect until it's too late. We're going to talk about the financial burden of caregiving and how it can sneak up on you when you least expect it. Stay tuned. Reality number 4. The financial burden is heavier than you think. When you first take on the role of caring for your elderly parent, you might not realize just how much the financial burden will weigh on you. Medical bills, home care, medications, and unexpected expenses add up quickly, and they don't stop. The rising costs of care. The cost of medical care for aging parents can be staggering. Doctors' visits, hospital stays, medications, and specialized treatments often come with hefty bills. And if your parent needs home care or nursing assistance, those costs can drain your savings faster than you ever anticipated. For many caregivers, the financial strain is a hidden burden. You might find yourself dipping into your own savings or even pulling from retirement funds to make ends meet. It's a harsh reality. You're forced to decide between your own future and your parents' immediate needs. The emotional toll of financial decisions. Imagine having to choose between your own retirement and your parents' medical care. It's a decision no one should have to make. The emotional strain of knowing that your financial security might be compromised because of caregiving can lead to feelings of guilt, frustration, and helplessness. You want to provide the best care for your parent, but at what cost to your own future? Actionable tip: research financial assistance programs and long-term care insurance early. The good news is that there are ways to ease the financial burden if you plan ahead. One of the best things you can do is research financial assistance programs that are available for caregivers. These may include government programs like Medicaid or local community services that offer support. Another key step is exploring long-term care insurance. While it may seem like an added expense now, it can save you from a massive financial headache down the road. Many insurance plans cover at least a portion of home care or nursing home costs, which can help relieve the pressure of having to pay everything out of pocket. Imagine having to choose between your own retirement and your parents' medical care. It's a decision no one should have to make. Planning ahead and researching options can make all the difference. Reality number 5. Guilt and regret will haunt you. As a caregiver, no matter how much you give or how hard you try, you may find yourself plagued by guilt. You might feel like it's never enough. There's a constant pressure to do more, be more, and sacrifice everything for your parents' well-being. And even when you do your best, you still might feel like you're falling short. The weight of guilt. Many caregivers feel like they are constantly fighting an uphill battle. Whether it's managing medical care, daily activities, or emotional support, the weight of responsibility never fully lifts. Even if you're doing everything in your power, it's easy to feel like you're not doing enough. This can lead to feelings of guilt that can linger long after you've done everything you can. One of the toughest choices many caregivers face is the decision to place their parent in assisted living or a nursing home. It's a heartbreaking decision, and many caregivers experience intense guilt afterward. You might question if you're abandoning them, even though you know it's the best decision for their health and well-being. The struggle with regret. The emotional toll doesn't stop there. As time goes on, you might look back and feel regret. Did I do enough? Could I have been there more? Should I have made different decisions? These thoughts can haunt you, especially when the challenges of caregiving seem insurmountable. Reassurance. Accepting that you're doing your best is crucial. The reality is that guilt and regret are common among caregivers, but they don't mean you've failed. The truth is, you're doing your best. And that's enough. Accepting that you can't be perfect and that you're only human is essential. Caregiving is incredibly hard, and no one can do it alone or do it perfectly. It's important to remember that the love and care you're offering your parent are invaluable, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Self-compassion is key. Recognize your efforts, take pride in what you've done, and know that you are making a difference. What's one thing you wish someone had told you before becoming a caregiver? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could be a lifeline for someone else. Reality number 6, end-of-life conversations are unavoidable. Talking about the end of life is something many families avoid. It's an uncomfortable topic, one that no one wants to face. But here's the truth. Avoiding it doesn't make it go away. When the time comes to make difficult decisions, you'll wish you had prepared. The struggle of avoiding the inevitable. Many caregivers find themselves in a position where they suddenly need to make life or death decisions for their parent without having had the opportunity to discuss their parent's wishes. When you're emotionally overwhelmed, trying to navigate choices about healthcare, living arrangements, and even funeral plans can be incredibly difficult. Without clear direction from your parent, these decisions often fall to you, and the weight of making the right choice can be overwhelming. What if you choose something that doesn't align with their values? What if you make a decision that causes regret later on? The uncertainty and guilt can be unbearable. The importance of early conversations. That's why it's crucial to have these conversations early. It's not about being morbid, it's about clarity. Having an open, honest discussion with your parent about their wishes can save you and them stress later on. Whether it's deciding on a power of attorney, discussing living wills, or choosing a healthcare proxy, these are important conversations that should happen long before a crisis hits. Discussing these issues early on ensures that you understand their preferences and can make informed decisions on their behalf when needed. It also brings a sense of peace knowing that you're honoring their wishes, instead of being faced with tough choices that feel like you're guessing. What happens when you don't have the conversation? When families avoid these discussions, they often end up in a state of confusion when a loved one's health declines rapidly. You may find yourself scrambling to make decisions that align with their values, and without their input, it's easy to second-guess yourself. The emotional strain can make an already difficult time even more stressful. Having these conversations early doesn't take away the pain or make the eventual loss easier, but it does help you feel more prepared. It gives you the confidence to move forward, knowing you are making decisions based on their wishes, not out of uncertainty or fear. Actionable tip: have an open, honest talk about their wishes before a crisis happens. Take time to sit down with your parent when things are calm to talk about their healthcare and end-of-life preferences. Be respectful and sensitive, but also be clear about the importance of these decisions. This discussion might be difficult, but it will ease future burdens and provide both of you with clarity. Make sure to document their wishes and keep those records in an accessible place so you're not scrambling when a decision needs to be made. And the last reality is one that most caregivers wish they knew before it was too late. It's the one secret to surviving the caregiving journey without losing yourself. Stay tuned for the final truth. Reality number 7. You'll never be the same after this experience. Being a caregiver for an elderly parent is a transformative experience. It changes you in ways you may not fully understand until you're in the thick of it. The challenges you face, the sacrifices you make, and the love you give all leave an imprint on your soul that never fades. The shift in perspective. Caregiving opens your eyes to a different side of life. It changes the way you view aging, health, and the relationships you have with others. The person you once saw as invincible, your parent, becomes frail and vulnerable, and it forces you to confront your own fears about aging and mortality. But this journey is not only about loss and hardship. It also brings a deeper appreciation for life, for love, and for the moments that truly matter. As a caregiver, you witness firsthand the incredible strength and resilience of the human spirit. You see your parent in a new light, not just as the one who cared for you, but as someone who now depends on you. The emotional and personal transformation. This experience reshapes you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It teaches you patience, empathy, and the importance of family. Yes, caregiving can be exhausting, draining, and overwhelming, but it also offers the opportunity to reconnect with your parent on a deeper level. You're able to give back to the person who gave everything to raise you. And that's a powerful, humbling experience. You might find that your relationships with others change as well. You'll likely develop a deeper bond with your own family, or even make new connections with others who understand the unique struggles of caregiving. You might also discover a renewed sense of purpose in your own life as you navigate this journey with your parent. Yes, it's tough, but it's also a chance to give back to those who once gave everything for you. Every moment you spend caring for them is a moment filled with love, sacrifice, and meaning. This experience will stay with you forever, shaping who you are and how you view the world around you. If this video resonated with you, hit the like button and share it with someone who needs this today.